Imagine waking up tomorrow knowing that nothing can shake you. Not your coworker's attitude, not your overflowing inbox, not even that toxic comment from someone cutting you off in traffic. Sounds impossible, right? Well, 2,000 years ago, a group of ancient philosophers discovered how to achieve unshakable peace. And their solutions are more relevant today, especially for us in the LGBTQ+ community, than ever. And no, I'm not talking about some mystical secret or a 10-step program that will drain your wallet. I'm talking about Stoicism. Stoicism is a practical philosophy that can help us face life's challenges with more balance, even in the most difficult situations. As LGBTQ+ individuals, we know how often we are challenged by society, whether at work, in relationships, or in how we are perceived. But what the Stoics teach us is that true peace doesn't depend on external circumstances, but on how we react to them. Today, I'm going to share 10 quotes that have the power to completely transform the way you see your life and your interactions with the world around you. In just a few minutes, I'll explain each one and show you how to apply them in a simple, straightforward way, without complicated jargon, so you can handle daily situations and the challenges that arise along the way. Let's dive in. The first quote comes from Marcus Aurelius. Begin each day by saying to yourself, "Today I will encounter people who are ungrateful, arrogant, deceitful, envious, and hostile." People have these characteristics because they do not understand what is good and what is bad. For us, as LGBTQ+ individuals, this quote makes perfect sense. How many times have we faced prejudiced or disrespectful attitudes? Marcus Aurelius reminds us that others' attitudes do not reflect our value. If someone reacts negatively, it's more about what they're going through than about who we are. With this understanding, we can recognize that other people's reactions are largely out of our control, but our own response is within our power. In the Roman Empire, Marcus Aurelius would start each day by saying to himself, "Today, you will meet difficult people, and that's okay." This isn't pessimism, it's realistic optimism. He wasn't saying everyone would be difficult, but rather that he was preparing himself for the inevitable challenges of human interaction. For us, as LGBTQ+ individuals, this is even more relevant. We're constantly challenged to live our truth in a world that doesn't always accept us. But when we mentally prepare for these challenges, they lose their power to destabilize us. This mental framework does 3 powerful things. First, it removes the surprise from negative interactions. When you're prepared for difficulties, they lose the power to ruin your day. It's like wearing armor. The arrow may come, but it won't pierce as deeply. Second, it shifts your perspective from reactive to proactive. Instead of being caught off guard by someone's behavior and reacting emotionally, you've already created a mental space to respond thoughtfully. Third, it cultivates empathy. By understanding that difficult behavior often comes from ignorance, not malice, you free yourself from the burden of taking things personally. Think of it this way. If you saw someone burning their hand because they didn't realize fire was hot, you'd feel sorry for their ignorance. They might not know better, but we do. This is what Stoicism proposes. Free yourself from the pressure of being offended by others' actions, and instead focus on your response and understanding. As LGBTQ+ individuals, we know what it's like to be misunderstood, but we can choose how to respond to those situations, seeking understanding and maintaining our inner peace. The next quote, also from Marcus Aurelius: "The length of a person's life is only a moment. What then could?" This is our guide, philosophy. At first glance, this may sound a little depressing, right? A moment, is that all we have? But Marcus Aurelius isn't trying to discourage us. He's offering us a form of liberation. Imagine standing on the edge of a vast canyon, suddenly realizing how small you are. Most people would feel insignificant, but a Stoic would feel free. Because when Aurelius says our life is only a moment, he's not diminishing our existence. He's inviting us to wake up. We spend so much time worrying about things that won't matter in a week. That social media argument, or that criticism, that kept you up at night. Aurelius would look at this and say, don't waste your time on that. Think about how we typically live. We're always postponing happiness, pushing joy to some distant future. I'll be happy when I get that promotion. I'll relax after this project. But Aurelius is saying, your life is a moment. Not tomorrow, not next year, but now. Remember, this came from a man who was literally the most powerful person in the world at the time. He was leading an empire, dealing with wars, plagues, and constant political pressure. Even with all of that, he understood that life happens now, in the present, not some future date we're waiting for. For us as LGBTQ+ individuals, we often wait for acceptance or recognition from the outside. But true freedom begins with living in the present moment and appreciating what we already have. And yet, he understood that true power comes from understanding the brevity of life. It's about understanding that each moment is an opportunity to live with purpose, dignity, and meaning. Let philosophy be your guide, not as a rigid set of rules, but as a flexible approach to navigating the complexities of human existence. Going back to Aurelius again. At every hour, decide firmly, as a Roman and as a man, to accomplish the matter at hand with true solemnity, love, care, independence, and justice, and to free yourself from all other worries. Here, Marcus gives us a battle plan for daily life. Let's break down what he's saying, word by word. Decide firmly. This isn't about positive thinking or motivation. It's about commitment, about giving your full self to whatever lies ahead, no matter the task. Aurelius is saying, be 100% in what you do, as a Roman and as a man. For Aurelius, being Roman meant embodying certain virtues, discipline, honor, responsibility. Being a man meant having integrity, courage, and doing what's right, even when it's hard. He's challenging us, especially us, the LGBTQ+ community, to be true to our essence, to act with courage as we are who we are, and to never let fear or adversity stop us from fighting for our truth. Every action we take, every choice we make, should reflect these values because in the end, that's what defines who we truly are. To bring your best self to each moment, accomplish the task at hand. How many of us are constantly living anywhere but in the present moment? Aurelius is telling us, stop, be here now. Genuine solemnity doesn't mean being serious or humorless. It means treating every task with respect. Every action is an opportunity to show your character. Marcus Aurelius also said, it's not easy to find someone who is unhappy because they are unaware of what is going on in another person's soul, but those who do not follow the movements of their own soul will certainly be unhappy. Kake. First, this might seem like a complex philosophical statement, but what Aurelius is offering is something much more practical, a map to understand the true source of human unhappiness. We spend an incredible amount of energy worrying about others. We scroll through social media, creating narratives about other people's lives. We wonder what our colleagues really think of us. We become obsessed with how we are perceived. But here's the radical truth that Aurelius is revealing. Other people's inner worlds are not your problem. They are not the source of your unhappiness. The true source of unhappiness is your own unexamined inner landscape. How much time do you actually spend trying to understand yourself? Not in a narcissistic way, but in a deep, honest, introspective way. When Aurelius talks about following the movements of your own soul, he's not speaking mystically, but about sincere self-observation. Understanding why you react the way you do, why certain situations trigger you, why you make the choices you make. But instead, many people do the opposite. They live like a ship without a helmsman, tossed around by external winds. They blame circumstances, other people, the economy, the boss, the partner, anyone but themselves. As an LGBTQ plus individual, how many times have you found yourself letting other people's perceptions or external pressures define how you feel? Aurelius challenges us to look inside, to take control of what's happening within ourselves, so we can truly break free from the external chains that afflict us. By doing so, we remain trapped in an endless cycle of suffering. Self-knowledge isn't about judging yourself, but about observing yourself with compassion. If this is your moment, ask yourself philosophically, how will you live it? To help answer this question, let's turn to another Stoic philosopher, Seneca. We suffer more in imagination than in reality. These words from Seneca could be the most powerful remedy against anxiety ever conceived, a simple truth with the power to completely transform how we experience life. Close your eyes for a moment and think about the last time you truly worried. It's highly likely that the scenario you were imagining was much worse than what actually happened. That work presentation you feared probably went well. The difficult conversation you avoided turned out to be more manageable than expected. The health concern that kept you up at night was often less catastrophic than your mind predicted. This is the insidious nature of human suffering, something that Seneca understood deeply. Our minds are incredible storytelling machines, but often terrible fiction writers. We don't just worry. We create entire catastrophic narratives, complete with worst-case scenarios, dramatic consequences, and emotional devastation. And here's the point. These stories, these fears feel absolutely real to us. The most successful people you can think of didn't achieve success by getting paralyzed by imaginary scenarios. They mastered the art of separating potential concerns from real problems. They prepare, but they don't exaggerate. Think about how much mental energy we waste on scenarios that never happen. Seneca offers a radical perspective. Much of your suffering is a product of your imagination, not your real circumstances. Practically, this means recognizing when you start to catastrophize, asking, what is actually happening right now? Reality is rarely as bad as we imagine, and when challenges do come, we are often more capable than we think. For us, as LGBTQ plus individuals, the fear of how we will be treated or perceived can paralyze us, but true strength lies in freeing ourselves from these stories that our minds create, confronting the moment with clarity and courage. Seneca also said, "The greatest blessings of humanity are within us and within our reach. A wise man is content with what he has, no matter what it is, without wishing for what he does not have." In a world that constantly shouts that happiness is just one purchase away, one promotion distant, or one relationship removed, Seneca says something revolutionary. Happiness is not out there. It is inside you, right now. Most people spend their entire lives on a perpetual treadmill, chasing more money, a better job, a bigger house, a fancier car. We're told that satisfaction is something to be pursued, acquired, achieved. Seneca says, stop, look inside. The greatest blessings are within us. This is a time-tested vision from a man who saw both the highest and lowest extremes of human experience. He was a philosopher, statesman, advisor to emperors, managed enormous wealth, survived political intrigue, and understood human nature in its most complex form. He is offering us practical philosophy, the ability to choose our response, the power to find peace regardless of circumstances, the strength to maintain our integrity when everything around us is chaos. I see a world that constantly tells us we're not enough, that we need more to be complete. Seneca says, you are enough already. You have the capabilities within you. You just need to use them. Seneca also said, it is not that we have little time to live, but that we waste much of it. These words are a wake-up call for everyone who's ever complained about not having enough time. Let's be honest, how many hours have you spent mindlessly scrolling through social media? How many nights have disappeared into Netflix binges? How many conversations have you had that added absolutely nothing to your life? Time is the most uniform resource we have. Billionaires and beggars have the same amount of hours in a day. And yet many of us, especially as LGBTQ plus people, waste this resource in ways that lead nowhere. Seneca challenges us to use it more consciously and intentionally. We all, from vendors to presidents, from celebrities to postal workers, have exactly 24 hours a day. Each of us has the same 1,440 minutes each day. The difference? How we choose to spend that time. Most people don't manage time. They let time manage them. They drift, they react, they fill their hours with activities that don't contribute to their growth, purpose, or happiness. Seneca would look at the modern world of constant distractions and shake his head. We've turned time wasting into an art form. But here's the liberating part of Seneca's insight. This is a choice. Wasting time isn't something that happens to you. It's something you do. Think about how we typically rationalize wasting time. We say, I'm just relaxing. But true relaxation isn't mindless consumption. It's intentional restoration. It's not about killing time, it's about living it. Time is not a renewable resource. Once a moment is gone, it's gone forever. You can't negotiate with time, you can't store it, you can't buy more of it. You can only choose how to use it now in this moment. Now let's turn to our last three philosophers and their quotes, starting with Epictetus. It is difficulties that show what men are. Epictetus said this, comparing difficulties to the blacksmith's hammer shaping metal. Difficulties shape who we become. But what makes this insight so powerful is that it completely flips our normal view of challenges upside down. Think about the last time you faced a big challenge. Maybe it was losing a job, dealing with a health crisis, or navigating a difficult relationship. In those moments, you probably learned more about yourself than you did during years of smooth sailing. This is exactly what this timeless Stoic wisdom is pointing to. Most of us spend our lives trying to avoid difficulties. We dream of that perfect job where everything runs smoothly, that conflict-free relationship, a life without obstacles. But the Stoics understood something profound. A life without difficulties isn't possible. If we want to improve our life, there must be resistance. Consider an athlete. They don't get stronger by lifting easy weights. They get stronger by constantly facing resistance. Our character works the same way. Those difficult conversations you need to have, they're building your courage. That project that seems impossibly complex, it's developing your problem-solving skills. That setback that feels like failure, it's helping you grow. For us, as LGBTQ+ individuals, these challenges may be even more present, but it's these moments that truly show us what we are made of. By facing them head-on, we can become stronger and more authentic. This translation conveys the full essence of the original text, while keeping the focus on the relevance of Stoic philosophy for the LGBTQ+ community, using relatable experiences and reflections to strengthen the connection.